Welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead, where on my channel I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. And today we are freeze drying. Welcome to Freeze Dry Friday. Today we are going to be doing mashed potatoes. I have 3 trays here of sweet potatoes that I roasted in the oven, put on some trays and got frozen. So they are ready to go in. So 3 trays of beautiful sweet potatoes and 1 tray of white potatoes. It's been a while since I've had sweet potatoes or mashed potatoes ready for instant use in my cupboard, so it's time to get some more freeze-dried. These come out so easy to reconstitute into a side dish. It truly only takes seconds. If you have an abundance of potatoes or sweet potatoes or yams, and you have some time to roast them in the oven and then get them onto trays, you will be doing yourself a favor because that will afford you the opportunity to have the most delicious instant potatoes for a side dish within a few seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and take you over to the freeze dryer. We're gonna get these in, and when they come out, I'm gonna show you how I reconstitute them. I've seen a lot of people talking about how hard it is to get mashed potatoes to taste good after they have been freeze-dried, and I think that has to do with the consistency. I've mentioned before, I do not weigh my trays to determine how much water needs to go back into them. I do it just by feel, by look, by consistency, and that's what we're gonna be doing with these. I'll show you that when they're done. These are truly amazing. These are not your spuds. They taste like amazing mashed potatoes that you just made. Same with the sweet potatoes. Not a excessively full tray of potatoes here, but it is what I had left over from a bag of potatoes that I bought. They were starting to get little eyes on them, so went ahead and just cooked them down. And you can see this tray has some darker spots in it, and that is because these were roasted in the oven. So we got a beautiful caramelized flavor going on in here. These have been freezing for a couple of days, so the freezing process on this should not take long. To get that process started, I just need to close the drain valve and then push continue. And once this goes through the entire freeze-dry process, I'll bring you back when we're at 0 time and we'll check for dryness. We're at 51 hours, almost 52 hours on here. I did put about 6 more hours of dry time because these finished while I was at work today and I wasn't ready to get them out. I'm free now, so I'm gonna go ahead and open the drain valve. There isn't a ton of ice in here, but there is some. These are what the trays look like. They are really dry. I'm sure they're totally dry. So those are the sweet potatoes, and then here are our mashed potatoes. They're really crumbly. So let's get these into the kitchen and we will get them packaged up and then we will reconstitute a little bit of each. I'm going to try to put most of this in glass, but if I need to use some Mylar for the yams, I will do that, no problem. Since I only have 1 tray of the potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and use a squattier half-gallon jar. Just going to put a funnel in there. And these are super soft. These were boiled and then mashed, whereas the squash was roasted and then mashed. And of course, we'll leave out a little bit here to reconstitute. These don't last long in my house because they are just so easy to reconstitute and eat as a side dish, part of a lunch or a dinner. These will go quick. And I'm just gonna put a lid on that. I'm not gonna put an oxygen absorber in there. They're gonna be fine on my shelf just like this. Didn't even fill half a gallon. And I will put the rest of this in a bowl. These potatoes don't have anything added to them. There's no butter, there's no salt, there's no milk. So if I want any of that, I'm gonna do that when I reconstitute it. We're gonna go for the gallon jar for the yams or sweet potatoes. They are yams, but I call them sweet potatoes a lot. And they are gonna be less friendly about getting crumbled down because they were roasted. That's okay. They're gonna be mashed when they reconstitute. I just have to get them into small enough pieces that I can fill the jar as much as possible. And I can show you here on the bottom, all this darkened color, that's all the caramelization that happened during the roasting process. This is gonna be so incredibly delicious. I roasted them right in the skin and then peeled them after they came out of the oven, and then just spread them onto trays. I got two of the dogs here at my feet just hoping for pieces that might go flying because they love their freeze-dried food. And this is hard enough where when I've said in the past that you want to squeeze all the air you can out of your Mylar bag, but you also want to be careful that you don't put a hole in it. This could put a hole in a Mylar bag because it's sharp and it's hard. It's definitely quicker with the mashed potatoes than the roasted yams because you got to get them all broken up. And the sound in the background, you might see some steam, is the Instant Pot because I've got the dog food going right now. Looks like we're definitely going to need a couple bags because I just don't have another large jar available right now. And that's okay because that's going to fill up my checking account as well as my savings account. A little more I can fit in there, I think. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and just put a lid on that one as well. And now the rest of these I'm gonna have to crunch down and then put in some Mylar. So I'll get them crunched first. All right, now I just have to get these into the bags. I've got a couple bags already over here, as well as some oxygen absorbers and my heat sealer. I'm gonna write the label first though, because it's, I think, easier when the bag is flat. So these are freeze-dried mashed roasted yams. Or amazing, delicious nutrition. And this is February of 25. I won't be able to fill these bags too full because again, these have sharp edges. I can slide some of them in, but based on the height of the other tray, unless I take some off, I won't be able to slide the second tray. So let me just get some off of here. That looks good. I'm gonna hold out a piece or so to get that reconstituted. I lost one, but not to worry, Molly got it. She was quick about it because Charlie was right there too. Oh, they're all three here now. They all want some. And they have some they shall, because this will be an ingredient I use in their dog food. Two nicely filled bags. I'm just going to pop an oxygen absorber into each of those, and then I'll bring you down and we will reconstitute both the mashed potatoes as well as the mashed yams, and we'll get these heat sealed. Just have to be careful when I press on this because of the sharp edges. The oxygen absorber will do its job. And for the heat seal, I just lay it on the heating plate with the tear notches towards me so I don't seal over them. And then this light will come on as it starts to heat, and it is set to the same mil as my bags. So it knows exactly how long it takes, and there it goes. So I'll put a second one on there. Doesn't hurt, and doesn't cost anything extra. So just one above the other. I have almost 2 gallons ready to go into long-term storage or my savings account. And I have a gallon and almost a half a gallon to go into my checking account for short-term use. Let's get some of these reconstituted and give them a try. For the potatoes, you can see that they're soft. They're just gonna crunch right down. Whereas this sweet potato, that is hard and crunchy, but not to worry. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add a little bit of salt and pepper to the mashed potatoes because that's how I would eat them. Whereas the yam, I would just eat as is. I'm also gonna put just a tiny bit of butter in with the mashed potatoes. I'm gonna go ahead and just reconstitute these with some water. We're gonna go ahead and do this guy first. I'm just gonna add a little bit and let him absorb that. And look how quick he softens right down. That's amazing. Definitely needs more. But because this is a reconstitution, you wanna go slow because you don't wanna end up with sweet potato soup. I think this guy needs a little bit more. Nope, maybe not. I think he might be good. All right, we're just gonna let him sit there for a minute while we do the potatoes. Now, the trick with potatoes I have found is you're gonna need more water than you think you do. And if you wanna add milk to this, you can certainly do that as well. But these are gonna be really thick and pasty unless you add enough liquid. And that's just going to be based on your own personal preference. So again, just go slow until it is the consistency that you like. Now that looks pretty good, but it also looks a little dry to me. So I'm going to add just a little bit more. So it looked like it had enough for hydration, but not the right consistency. So that's why I added a little bit more. Okay, that's a little better. I'm going to add still a little bit more water. It takes more than you think with mashed potatoes. That is so much better. Can you see the difference there? Now it's looking way more like the creamy mashed potatoes that you would make for dinner after boiling potatoes or roasting potatoes. Let me give that a quick try. A little bit more. I can still taste a little graininess to it. So it just needs another minute with a little bit more liquid. Again, you can use milk as well. And now I'm just gonna let that sit for a minute. And that graininess will go away. And these will be smooth mashed potatoes. But we can try these. All right, so here is my mashed sweet potato. Looks like it rehydrated beautifully. Those are so incredibly sweet. They are absolutely delicious. The consistency is perfect. The flavor is outstanding. Tastes like they were just roasted. Literally just roasted in the oven. They are amazing. Only I can have them within about 30 seconds now because I took the time to roast a whole bunch all at once. I've kind of made a lot of these mashed potatoes, but let's get them a try. So I'm just gonna give them one last stir here. You can certainly add more butter. You can add sour cream. You can add milk, whatever you like with your mashed potatoes. I'm just going for simplicity here. This is how I would eat them if I was reconstituting them for a meal or a side dish. They're perfect. They're mashed potatoes. They're like just made mashed potatoes. So you want to add a lot more water than you think you need. Just go slow. Yeah, these are amazing. There's still a lot in here. This is probably going to be my dinner. Couldn't be easier to have instant mashed anything when you freeze dry. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Freeze Dry Friday. Mashed yams and potatoes edition. My name is Kelly. You're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.